Alright, this is going to be kind of just a quick one take, just to update people that were following my previous Void Blade builds that you've seen on like Trick's channel and other channels. Just a build update of what I'm going to be doing for Season 3. So this is going to be my open world, arena, wars. I'm basically using this build every chance that I can get. It has some variations that you can try. It also has different setups that you can do if, for example, your war roster that you're on doesn't want to slot a Void Gauntlet BB. Maybe they want a VGIG, or if they want a VG Flail, there's certain things that you can do and some armor pieces that you can move around, but generally your armor pieces are going to be pretty much the same. The only thing that's going to be changing is the weapon perks that you put on it, and maybe if you want to change out like 1 or 2 perks, you can get away with it. But as a general standpoint, this is probably one of the strongest PvP builds that you can actually have for Season 3. On the current patch post-Onk nerf, it's still probably one of the best artifacts in the game. So just as a quick rundown of the build, this is a VGBB. It's mainly centered around the Pestilence Blunderbuss artifact. This is basically a counter to a lot of the shirking heals and flails that you're going to be seeing in wars and OPRs and arenas. This is kind of a build to kind of counteract that. It has a lot of healing itself due to things like shirking heals. You can put Mending Stoneform on. Any pocket healer is going to full heal this build with 1 DE, especially if you're low. So there's a lot of sustain with this build. It's very hard to kill. High armor rating, good amount of damage still, and a lot of team utility. So just as a quick overview, for the pieces, your bread and butter is going to be Shirking Fort, Shirking Heals, and then the third perk is either going to be a weapon perk or it's going to be health. I think on this setup I have like 3 or 4 weapon perks on the armor just because of the things that you need for BB. But if you're running Flail, if you're running IG, you might not need as many weapon perks, so you can splash more health and you can have overall stronger shirking heals. You're going to have a lot more durability. But as of right now, I haven't found any problems with survivability, even in like 1v9 situations. You're able to kind of sustain if your uptime on shirking heals is good, if your uptime on shirking fort is good, as well as your BB fortifies as well. The chest piece is Nullifying Oblivion, which is going to be, if you're using a VG, you're going to need this on your armor. Shirking Fort, Shirking Heals. Magnetic Gauntlets is a must-have for this build. If you do not have Magnetic Gauntlets, you are kind of screwed out of playing any kind of VG build just because of how revolutionary it is for the build. VG was never really about doing any damage, but it needed a high crit uptime in order to get its cooldown reduction, its leeching abilities, as well as being able to kind of go infinite on clumps, as you'll see in one of my later clips that I have. For this artifact, it runs with physical aversion and refreshing base, and then I put shirking heals on it just for 5 shirking heals. The pants I put on plague splitting grenades, but if you're running like a VGIG like I have set up here, I also have an unending thaw piece that I run. So it is kind of interchangeable. I would highly recommend putting weapon perks on things that you can easily swap out and not affect your armor weight. So for example, if you're running medium and you have light legs, and you know that you're not running an artifact in that leg slot, that's where I would probably swap in a lot of my weapon perks, just because it's a lot easier to manage and a lot easier to maintain specific armor weights. But since I'm in heavy, that doesn't really matter too much. But just as an FYI, if you want to run this in like light or medium, because it can run in medium, I think it's probably most effective for the average player to run it in medium. If you're a war player, you probably want to run it in heavy, but that's always something to keep in mind. But as of right now, I'm running Shirking Fort, Shirking Heals, and then Plague Spinning Grenades. And then the feed is actually kind of a special one, because if you have been following for the past few seasons, since Void Gauntlet has basically come out and the whole weapon perks on weapons being more effective, pretty much everybody has suggested running Putrefying Scream on the Void Gauntlet, which I used to agree with. But as I've been kind of experimenting and playing around with it, the difference between Putrefying Scream on armor versus Putrefying Scream on weapon actually isn't that big. Like I have the Life Taker, for example, here, and Putrefying Scream on weapon is 43%. If you put it on armor, it's 32%. So really, you're not losing that much disease percentage. But For a diminishing orb piece on armor, it's about a 30% reduction in active cooldown for any abilities that they're using. So for example, with Shirking Fort being up for like 5 seconds, it would only reduce it by like 1 to 2 seconds. But with Diminishing Orb on VG, it's going to 75, which is absolutely insane for a plethora of reasons. One, flails are super broken right now, where you're not able to put any debuffs on them, because when they do the Vortex, it gives like an AoE cleanse and debuff immunity. Like everybody in that clump basically gets a free cleanse potion. And that is super annoying when you have people spamming it off of cooldown, because that's basically what point fights are nowadays. So Diminishing Orb is really nice when you pair it with Nullifying Oblivion. It basically creates a lot of windows that you're able to debuff them and kill them, because right now you're not going to be able to kill anybody if they have buffs up, just because of how strong they are with like Shirking Fort, with flail buffs, with life staff buffs. It's really difficult to kill anybody on point. You also notice that I'm not running Keen. That's mostly just because of the Void Gauntlet artifact. You can kind of get away with not running Keen. I think that Attunement is probably the best bet with a weapon perk, just because of the ult charge that you get. You have a lot of guaranteed crit up time with Magnetic Gauntlets, so you don't really need Refreshing Move either. One tech that I've been running right now is I've been running Plague Crits, mostly for a war standpoint. If you're doing like OPR or arenas, you can run something like Vicious. It's not that great now that it got nerfed, but it's still probably your best option if you're not a huge fan of Plague Crits. Plague Crits I've just found to add extra value, because most of the time you're critting with the Magnetic Gauntlets. So anybody that you basically touch under 50% is going to get disease, just because you have such a high crit uptime that it's just kind of nice to have. It helps maybe reduce the chance that they get healed by like a random splash or a random VE, and basically guarantees that they're going to die or have a lot more pressure and need a lot more resources to be sent onto them to be able to get them out of the fight. For the BB, as you can see, I've put a rune glass in it. I've heard some people say that if you run higher int, that it's better to put a tier 2 int gem in it. To be honest, you're not really using the Pestilence much. Like, yeah, it's good for if you're doing OPRs or 1v1s or arenas in like that kind of small scale, just because Shrapnel is really good. But I mostly use it for ult charge. Like, I'll throw nades and maybe a Shrapnel, and then I'll come back to the VG and just go basically infinite. You can put an Opal in it. I think that it's still a solid choice. You're not scaling as hard without the strength, but it still does a lot of damage. It's still very useful in small scale situations because of the Pest passive, where you're doing 8% more damage. And the reason that this is important is because the Blighted Enchantment actually works with VG attacks as well, and attacks are basic attacks as well as spells. So if you Scream somebody, for example, you're gonna disease them for an additional 5% on top of the 32% that you're doing. Or if you're doing Plague Splitting Grenades, that's 16 plus the extra 5, and it also works in AoE. So for example, if you throw an orb at a clump, pretty much everybody that you're going to be hitting in that clump will be taking extra alt tick, because they're all taking dots, and each instance of dot will increase your ult. So you're actually able to basically spam your ultimate abilities, especially if it's a heavy clump fight, which this current meta is. So that's really nice. As well as giving you the AoE ability to cut healing. And also, if you manage to hit a healer, it also reduces their healing because they're no longer at full HP. And the Pest passive is unique in the sense that it reduces incoming healing and outgoing healing. For the Ankh, you have to run it if you're running Shirking Heals. Shirking Heals without the Ankh is pretty mid. It's still good, but I think that the Ankh is what makes it one of the better perks to run. It comes with Divine and Health, and I put Stam Recovery on it. If you're in medium and you're good at managing your stamina, I would highly recommend putting a protection on it. But because of the fact that I'm in heavy, and in wars, I think stamina recovery is just blatantly broken, just because it gives you your full stand back as well as being on a 30-second cooldown. I don't know why they buffed it, But it is ridiculously broken in that sense. But if you're in medium, you focus on OPRs, 3v3s, I would highly recommend doing a protection. Anything like thrust protection, fire protection, slash protection, all those are going to be okay. It really just depends on what you're fighting. For the ring, I know it looks like an earring. My jewelry is all bugged. If you run vines, I highly, 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 highly recommend Purifying Heart. Just because if you're running vines, where is my vines? Oh yeah. If you're running vines, basically it's AoE rend, root, stamina regeneration, debuff on yourself, which is very big in wars specifically, because in this setup you don't have a cleanse with your, like if you're running IG, you don't have cleansing tomb, and you don't always want to be wasting a cleanse potion in certain situations, like if you don't have one or if you're running really low. So it really helps you extend your cleanse potions in war, and also in things like OPR arenas where you don't have cleanse potions and you're not running Ice Gauntlet. It's also a huge beneficiary for running Purifying Heart, just because of the fact that it has a slight delay. Whenever you go into a clump and you're using your vines, there's a slight delay between when the debuffs get applied and then when they get cleansed by Purifying Heart. So if you're going into a clump, you use your vines, you get the stamina, you're probably getting weakened, you're probably getting rended because you're touching a clump, so there's going to be Void Gauntlet shooting at it, you're going to have Enfeebling Maelstroms on you. Like, there's going to be a lot of debuffs coming your way. It actually applies the cleanse after all of those will hit you, so you'll be able to walk out of a clump basically for free. And with the Invigorated nerf, it's not super useful to run, especially with a build like this one where you're trying to strip the buffs away, so Invigorated Punishment doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I'm running Void Damage, and Hardy is just mandatory. If you're running anything, any build is going to need Hardy just because of the stamina changes in medium, so you can't really get away with not having Hardy on your ring. So I would say that if you're going to do like a 2-perker ring, Void Damage and Hardy is going to be like your must-haves for this build. One thing that you can do is if that you are running Ice Gauntlet or you are in like wars and you're really good about your cleanse potion usage, what you can do is you can run the Azoth Crystal Ring. This ring comes with leeching and Hardy on it base, so you can change it to whatever. So I got lucky and I ended up getting a Void Damage ring, and so I'll use that for arenas, I'll use that for OPRs, where like I might be using like Bile, for example, and then I'll swap to this because I won't have to worry about cleansing the stamina regeneration debuff that I would have using vines. So if I'm using Bile, Stone Form, anything like that, I'll swap to this ring. And then for the last piece is the earring. There's kind of a trade-off. When Ankh first came out, it was actually more healing than health potions, was using Healthy Toast and mana potions. And now there's kind of a trade-off, because healing with the health potion actually is slightly more. I think it's about 3.8k with a health potion. And with Healthy Toast and a mana potion, you're healing about 3.2k. But mana potions are in a 15-second cooldown. Health potions are on a 25-second cooldown. So you're trading 600 healing for higher uptime, which is especially useful if you're using things like Fortifying Toast and Powering Toast, because having that higher uptime is really nice. But I'm not 100% sure if you can actually run Healthy Toast with Fortifying Toast, so that's something that I'd have to check. But if you are running the Ankh, I'd highly recommend trying Healthy Toast and seeing if you like it, because if you don't need that extra 600 HP, then it is very nice, especially in like wars, because you always have a Sacred under you, so the healing difference isn't that noticeable. You'll see that I'm actually not running Refreshing Toast here. Refreshing Toast got kind of gutted, if nobody really checked. It used to be like it would reduce your cooldowns by like 20-something%, but they nerfed it down to 10% at 700, which isn't super great, considering that the highest cooldown that you have is 60 seconds with a potion, and that'll only go to 54. So it's kind of like if you want to run it, this would be the main reason that you run it. Cleanse potions would be up every 2.5 seconds faster, but you're not really cleansing off cooldown unless you're on point. So like it's kind of a toss up between if you want to run something like refreshing or if you want to run refreshing toast. I prefer refreshing just because I already have one on the magnetic gauntlets, and it helps for my BB cooldowns where I can like use them more frequently, have more disease. But it really is kind of a toss up. The second toss up perk as well is nimble. I've talked to a lot of people. Some people will say it's cope. Some people will say it's not really useful. Some people will say that you don't really notice it that much, and they'd rather run something like regenerating, because regenerating gets buffed by Ankh as well and Sacred Grounds, so you can heal for about 250 to 350 a second depending on your con, which is not bad. It's definitely good, and it's definitely noticeable over a long period of time, but I do think that nimble is still a little bit better just because you don't need to heal damage if you don't take the damage, and the more dodges that you have, the less damage that you have to heal back. So it is kind of a toss-up either way. I definitely think that nimble, refreshing, healthy toast is probably going to be your best bet. Again, that refreshing can go for refreshing toast, and that nimble can go for regenerating, just depending on what kind of build that you want to run. Getting into the attributes, because of how Magnify works, you can't go, like I wanted to go 250, 50, and then put the rest in the con. You can't really do that with Magnify, so I'm kind of forced to run the stat split. You're probably thinking, wow, why is this such a weird stat split? Why do you have 51 focus instead of 50? It's because with the way that stats currently are at 700, you have to get equal stats between two. So like I'll show you. So like with Magnify, if I'm putting in stuff, it's like, okay, I need to go to 250 int, and then I can't. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just try and go 250. Okay, it's not going to work like that. So because of Magnify and because of how it's currently implemented, this build wants 50 focus 100%. The cooldown reduction that you get from 25, as well as the incoming healing. Incoming healing actually works with shirking heals. It also is just really nice if you play with a healer in your group. Their heals are going to be 10% stronger. And especially if this build ever picks up popularity, you're going to have a lot more pests, you're going to have a lot more disease. So any amount of incoming healing that you can get is very nice. And then because of how weird this stat spread is, there we go. Some important key hits here. You need 200 int, just because the 10% mana on critical hit. You're going to be critting a shit ton with the magnetic gauntlets, and this allows you to go infinite with your void gauntlet. You also want the increase to physical armor, elemental armor, physical armor when above 50% HP, and health consumables are going to be a lot stronger. You want all of the things that you can get. Some of the things that aren't super important, I would say that the 60% damage reduction at full HP, you're never really going to notice it. You take so much chip damage with things like Ice Storm, with any amount of orbs, if they have any VGs, like you're going to basically never have this up in a meaningful way. Moving on to the weapons. I don't know if this is the optimal BB tree. I'll be honest, I didn't really play BB much until Season 3. So any BB experts that want to kind of correct this, feel free. This is just kind of what I came up with. 100% you need double down. You don't really do that much damage with the BB, and you're not really trying the auto much with the BB. That's why I don't take things like ramp. If you want to manhand the BB, you might be able to try a tree with unload and ramp, but I don't think it's really useful. Double down is definitely the best because you'll be able to spam your splitting grenades, you'll be able to spam your shrapnel blast, or if you're getting heavy pressure, you're able to spam your net shot. Net shot's passives aren't super great. If you were to take these two, I think it would be okay. But I think that in order to get double down, I don't think you're actually able to take these unless you drop deep load and fortifying aggression. I only take fortifying aggression because of the fact that I'm in heavy. If you're in medium, I would take something like maybe ramp or future endeavors, or maybe just put into the fast hands perk in net shot. Everything else is pretty much mandatory. I think that last chance is actually very useful in heavy or medium, especially with shirking heals. It basically gives you a last chance like to proc a shirking heals and be able to kind of make sure that it goes off, and it allows you to kind of wait for a heal from your healer, or allows you to proc 1 more shrinking heals, and that'll actually get you over the edge and will be able to keep you in the fight. For VG, the tree has changed up a little bit. As you'll notice, one of the key passives that you used to be able to use, which was Forsaken Pact, when they changed the crit percentages, and they also changed the mana on crit from mana on dodge, this kind of lost all viability, just because you're going to be critting so much, you're going to be getting so much mana back that you'll never be under 50% mana. I guarantee you, if you look through a War VOD or like an OPR VOD, you'll almost never be under 50% mana unless you're just blatantly whiffing all of your spells. And then this is a pretty standard VG tree otherwise. Void Collar actually got a lot more useful just because of the alt charges you get from it, as well as it's being like a pretty big clump meta, so you actually get a lot of use out of it. Whereas before you just wouldn't take a keystone passive and you would just put that extra point into Forsaken Pact, but now it actually has some viability. It's actually a lot more useful, and overall Void Gauntlet just feels a lot stronger with the addition of Magnetic Gauntlets. And that's the build overview. I hope everybody has a great day, and if you have any other questions, feel free to put it in the comments, and then I will leave you guys to be. Hope you guys are having fun in Season 3. I've been having a lot of fun artifact grinding. As you can see, I have a lot of them, and I still have a lot more to go. So I hope everybody's been enjoying New World, and I hope that Season 3 and beyond is a lot more fun and a lot more of a grind. Peace.
We're pushing them back. We're frying them though.
I must have dead up.
We're actually frying them. We're frying them. Holy fuck, keep going, keep going.
Wait, circumference and two.
Yo, if you guys are getting TP'd up, can you guys come
they
aboard?
still left. Yeah. I got killed.
Wait, how'd you get TP'd standing next to us?
Yeah, I know.
We're about to find this. Look at the clip. Look at the clip. Look at the clip. Oh my god, I find the ball.
I was even behind me.
Oh my god.
I'm tripping the runners. Oh, I didn't get it this time.
Yeah, I'm looking.
He's there still. I'm grabbing him.
I revived it. Scream.
I grabbed them all.
I tripped him.
I'm screaming again. Push it. Keep pushing. They're on my wall. Keep going. Yo, step on point. In. I
I
Come in.
Right side flag.
Survive, I have a clap. Why did that clap that healing?